Hello friends, today we are going to see the next topic, that is water and its properties. Water is useful substances which has covered our three-fourth part of the earth. This water is existing in three states: ice, water and vapor. We use this water in many ways. It is used for us for drinking, bathing, cooking, washing and agricultural things. Water has some unique properties. The two main properties of water include solubility, floating and sinking. What is the meaning of solubility? The ability of substance to dissolve in a liquid is called solubility. Some substance dissolve in water while some do not. It may be solid, liquid or gases. On the other basis, the substances which is not dissolved in water, solid, liquid and gas, we can classify them as follows. The substance which dissolve in the water, which are called as soluble substances, such as sugar, salt, soap and honey. These are the soluble substances. Some substances do not dissolve in water. We call them as insoluble substances, like wood, sand, stone, chalk dust powder or wax. The next is miscible and immiscible. Means some liquid directly mix in the water and some do not mix in the water. The substance or the liquid which mix up easily in the water, we call them as miscible liquids, such as milk, ink and lime juice. And some liquids which do not mix up in the water, we call them as immiscible liquids, such as kerosene, oil, petrol. These form a layer on top of the water, as the density of this liquid is more than the water, less than the water. The substance that dissolve in the liquid are called solute, like sugar. The liquid in which the substance dissolve is called solvent, and the combination of solute and solvent is called solution. Now, lime juice is a solution, water is a solvent, and sugar and lime are the solute. Now, substances dissolve faster in water if we stir or heat the mixture. For example, if we put sugar in cold water and mix, the sugar takes more time to dissolve. It dissolves slowly. At the same time, if we use the hot water or warm water to mix the same amount of sugar, it dissolves faster. So it shows that the solvent, if it is warm or hot, the solution becomes fast by mixing the solute in it. As water is called the universal solvent, what exactly is known as universal solvent? We have seen solute, we have seen solvent, we have seen solution. The thing which is mixed is solute, where it is mixed is solvent, and the combination of these two are solution. Now At the same time, we are going to see universal solvent. Why it is said that water is universal solvent? Because water can dissolve in most of the solid, liquid and gases. Gases like carbon dioxide and oxygen dissolve in water easily, which the oxygen or the oxygen dissolved in the water is useful for aquatic animals. These fish and other aquatic animals take the dissolved oxygen in the water. Because of this, the water is known as universal solvent. Now we will see floating and sinking. Means which material float on the water and which sinks into the water. Some objects float on water while some sink in it. The objects that are lighter than the water floats on the surface of the water, and the items or the substances which are heavier than the water, they sinks into the water. Now the substances like leaf, wood and ice, they are lighter than the water, so they float on the water. And the substances like iron, stone, marble are heavier than the water, so they go into the water or they dip into the water, which we call as sinking in the water. There are some objects which are designed in such a way that even though they are heavier than the water, they do not sink into the water. For example, ships and boats. They are made up of iron, yet they float on the water due to the design of the ships and the boats. Now, aquatic plants and animals. As we know that under the water there is a life which we call as aquatic life. In this aquatic life, there are many plants and animals staying in it. Water is essential for all living things. They may be kind of plants and animals that live in water. The animals and the plants which live in the water are called as aquatic plants and animals. Plants that live in this aquatic life are three types: floating plants, fixed plant and underground water plants. Floating plants, they float freely on top of the water. They do not have well developed roots and stems, so they only float on the water. The leaves are spongy and the size is small, which are covered with the wax coating, due to which the water does not stay on the leaf, and then as a result the floating plant floats on the water. Now the examples are duckweed, water lettuce and pistia. Fixed plants. There are some plants which are fixed plants. For example, the roots of these plants are fixed under the ground in the bottom of the water, and the stem floats on the water, in the water, and the leaves and flowers are floating on the top of the water. These leaves are broad, which sometimes acts as a nest for the small birds. Due to the hollowness and the flexibility of the stem, this stem do not bend or these stems bend due to the flow of the water but do not get damaged. The example of these are water lily and lotus. Underwater plant or submerged plants. There are some plants whose roots are fixed in the muddy soil. Their leaves are long, narrow, and ribbon like and arise in the cluster of from the roots. These stems are fixed having air space. The plants such as hydrilla and tapgrass are the example of underwater plants which helps the aquatic life and aquarium as they clean the water by removing the carbon dioxide that the water exhaled by the aquatic animals. Now, aquatic animals. As we have seen aquatic plants, we will see aquatic animals. Animals that live in water are called aquatic animals. Different kinds of fish and several other animals such as crabs, dolphin, whale, seals, and so on live in water. Aquatic animals like fish have gills to breathe and fins for swimming as well as for balancing. But some animals breathe through gills, while some animals like whale and dolphin breathe through their lungs. They come up to the surface of the water to breathe. Many of the time when we go to seas or oceans, we find these animals coming on top of the water surface. This is just to breathe. There are some animals like turtles, seals, and dolphins have oar-like flippers to swim in water. And the birds like duck and swans have webbed feet which help them to paddle in the water. There are some animals who live both on land and water. These animals are called as amphibians. These include animals like frog, toad, newt, and salamander. Animals have lungs to breathe on the land and have moist skin that helps them to breathe in waters. They also have limbs that help them to swim in the water. Amphibians can stay both in the water and as well as in the water. When they are on the land, they breathe to their lungs, and when they are in the water, they breathe to their skin.